How is history made? By chance, by luck, through bravery or action. Before there was such a thing as pro-Israel legislation, before there were position papers, or parlor meetings, or a policy conference, before there was AIPAC, before there was the State of Israel, one man changed the course of history.
My father was Eddie Jacobson. Although his name was Edward, no one ever called him that. He was Eddie to everyone. He was best known as being Harry Truman's partner and lifelong best friend. Daddy grew up in this Orthodox family. His parents were immigrants. Daddy was not well educated. He had to leave school at a very, very early age to help support the Jacobson family. Daddy went to work for a haberdashery store in Kansas City and went almost every day at noon to take the little packet of money to the bank. And the bank teller was a man by the name of Harry Truman. And this is where they met and became friends. The two men just clicked. They were brothers. Total respect for each other. They decided they would go into business together. And they started Truman-Jacobson in the prime location directly across the street from the Hotel Mulebach.
This man with whom I was in business was Eddie Jacobson. He was one of the best buyers that ever I came across. And I was one of the best salesmen that he ever had to be associated with. One of the finest men I ever had anything to do with.
And all of a sudden, the bottom fell out. They had to declare bankruptcy. They remained very, very, very close friends always. Truman went into politics, as you know. Daddy traveled all of Kansas and western Missouri selling shirts and pajamas. When he was in town, they always had lunch together. They always enjoyed each other. I always called him Uncle Harry. Members of the organized Jewish community used to go to Truman. They knew what was going on. They wanted help. You have to see Dr. Chaim Weizmann when he comes to the States. And Truman said, I don't have to do anything. I'm President of the United States.
I gave orders that nobody was to come to see me and talk about the Palestine affair.
Frank Goldman, who was international president of B'nai B'rith, called one night, middle of the night, and said to Daddy, you've just got to go and talk to Truman. The situation is dire. So in the middle of the night, Daddy went down, got on an airplane, went to Washington, walked in to the office of Matt Conley. Matt was Truman's appointment secretary, and said, does the boss have any time to talk to me for a little while? And Matt said, yes, but Eddie, don't talk to him about Palestine.
Dr. Weizmann had been trying to get in all along, and I wouldn't let him in. But someone did come to see me, and he got in. His name was Eddie Jacobson. He came in, he stood around, didn't say very much, was as quiet as he could be. And I finally said, Eddie, what in the world's the matter with you? Have you at last come to get something? Well, because you never have asked me for anything since I've been in the White House and since we've been friends. And then he told me that he thought that I ought not to keep Dr. Weizmann out of the White House.
And then Daddy said, Dr. Chaim Weizmann has come to the United States to tell you about the situation in Palestine, and you won't see him. Harry, that's not like you. All he wants to do is talk to you. And about that time, Harry's chair turned around and he looked out at the rose garden And pretty soon, Daddy said he could see him drumming on his desk. And Daddy said to himself, I got him. And he pulled the chair around and said, okay, you bald-headed son of a bitch, I'll see him.
Dr. Weitzman is a wonderful man, one of the wisest people I think I ever met. He was a leader, one of the kind that you read about and seldom see. We had a long, long conversation, and he explained the situation from his viewpoint, and I listened to him very carefully. On my desk at the White House, I used to keep a quotation from Mark Twain, which said, "Always do right. This will gratify some people and astonish the rest."
As was his habit, the president's final decision gratified a nation and astonished the world.
The United States recognizes the provisional government as the de facto authority of the new state of Israel.
After the recognition and the State of Israel came into being, Daddy's role became even more important because there was no ambassador yet. Every bit of business that was done between Israel and the United States came through Eddie Jacobson. It came through our living room. It is important to speak truth to power. It is important to maintain your friendships. Daddy was in the hospital for a short period of time, and I went to call on him, and I stood next to his bed, and he said, "You know, I spend all this money going to and from Washington with all of this business I have to transact there for the new little state. I won't have anything to leave you." And I said, "Daddy, you're leaving me the best thing of all. This is quite a heritage I have."
Ladies and gentlemen, Eddie Jacobson's daughter, Eleanor Jacobson Borenstein, and Eddie Jacobson's granddaughter, Hazel Becker, and the grandson of President Harry S. Truman, Clifton Truman Daniel.